guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to create these beautiful fluffy brows. As you can see, my natural brows aren't quite as full and fluffy. They're not super sparse, but they're not super full either. So this is a great way to cheat a fluffy brow without having to go through microblading. So I'm going to start with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze, and I would say this is kind of like a hybrid between a wax and a gel. As you can see, it is completely translucent. And it's specifically been designed to create a feathery eyebrow, which you would ordinarily use soap for. So I like to take a little spatula and decant a small amount. A little goes a long way, and if you use too much then the brow becomes heavy and it won't kind of stay in place. But if you don't use enough, again, then it won't stay in place. It's kind of trial and error. I'm taking a spoolie brush and I like to bend it, as this makes brushing the hairs a little bit easier at that angle rather than straight. And then all you do is swipe one side of your brush into the brow wax to really coat all the bristles. Make sure your eyebrow hair is clean of any oils, and then start by combing your brows in the opposite direction. It's not the most flattering finish, but you want to coat the hairs both sides. Only once you've coated both sides can you start combing the hairs upwards, and I promise you it will make the world of difference to the way your brows lay and the amount they stay in place. Another tip for this method is to be patient, so keep combing, because the more you comb them, the more they're going to listen to what you want them to do. I know that sounds really random. It's a bit like changing the parting on your hair. If you flip it over, it doesn't ordinarily lay that way, so the hair doesn't automatically want to lay flat. So what we're doing is taming the hair, and this can take a few goes to really get it to lay flat. You might also want to use your finger to press the hair down and then just give it a little comb over. And then we're starting to get a really good starting point for the fluffy eyebrows. The front brows are going to be going up at a slight angle, and the hairs towards the back are just going outwards, so we are getting more of a fluffy look. Now if you don't have an artistic eye, you might not see the natural guide that we have going on here, so I've just pointed it out with a little diagram just to show you that this is the shape that we're going to be filling in. So if you have particularly coarse hair or super long hair and it falls outside the guide, then you might want to trim those hairs, but only the stragglers. You don't want to trim it all because we want that fluffy finish. My two favourite brow pens are the Urban Decay Brow Blade and the MAC Shape and Shade Brow Tint. However, there are an abundance of different pens out there. These are just my favourite because they have a tiny tip. Today I'm using the MAC Shape and Shade Brow Tint in the shade Fling, which is like a dirty blonde. And I like to start at the front of the eyebrow. A lot of people like to start at the back half. Whichever suits you. I find that I like to use a lighter hand at the very front, and then I can get fuller as we get towards the back of the brow. I like to start at the very base and flick upwards. As I work my way along, I'm starting to see the shape that I want to create. A tip is to use a super light hand when you do this, because you want the very end of the flick to be light so it looks like a hair. Once I've done the base all the way up to where the arch is, I then like to start flicking the hair at the front upwards to create the top half of the shape. Again, this needs to be really light because the front of the eyebrow is the most sparse, so that's why I'm creating more hair strokes there. And then I'm just adding small strokes in the outer half of the brow along the top where it's most sparse. But you'll find this particular area needs less work than the front because it is fuller than that front area. You'll want to change the direction of your flicks as we get towards the arch and the tail of the eyebrow. Just follow that natural direction that you've brushed the hairs. I personally like to add a little bit more definition to the tail, just so it comes down to a bit more of a point. For me, that makes it look more defined. I want the brows to look fluffy, but I don't want them to look scruffy. So this is a before and after in a sense, because you can see one brow that looks nice and full and fluffy and the brow that doesn't. I've tried the brow freeze a number of times, and I do find that it doesn't hold up as well on my brows. So I personally like to set the final result in place with the Benefit 24-hour brow setter in clear. This one stays in place until I take it off. It wouldn't be as good at holding my brows up in this position on its own without the brow freeze, but the combination of the two for me work perfectly. So I'm going to recreate the same look on my second brow. I'm going to allow you to watch it, and then I'm going to come back at the end. So as you can see, that is both eyebrows full and fluffy. They don't look over the top, and obviously this is up close, but from a distance they do look super hairy and very, very natural. And you can see from the before and afters that it is quite a transformation, and brows really do frame the face. However, if this all feels a bit too technical for you or a bit too artistic, then I have plenty of other brow tutorials for a natural finish using both pencils and powders as well as pens. So if you are interested in trying an alternative method to achieve more natural full looking brows but without it being too artistic, I will link them on screen for you now, and I'm just putting up a couple of extra examples of the different tutorials that I have created. I'm always on the lookout to try new eye pens because I feel like they give you the most natural finish. So if there are any that you've tried that I haven't mentioned, then I would be really intrigued to learn more about them. I have seen that there's one by NYX that I've not tried. If you've tried it, what did you think? Let me know in the comment section. So anyway, as always guys, thank you so much for watching. Please give the tutorial a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comment section below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me outside of YouTube on my social handles, which will be on screen for you now, and I will see you next week. Bye!